Hi, everybody. This is Alicia, better known as, I guess, Materim's wife. I've got, I'm going to start my own little Paintisode here by myself because I don't think anybody else that wants to join in is on. Um, I just wanted to start this and kind of talk about my Paintisode, talk about my paint service, um, talk about the Warhammer rewards, and just kind of chat about stuff because it's almost 1 in the morning here, and I still have a lot of work to do, and I kind of feel like crap, and there's nothing to watch. Um, so first off, my paint service. I started this service because I actually really enjoy painting. I love art. I love making things really pretty. And I've seen a lot of people, especially the more competitive types. Now, I'm not trying to say that say this about all the competitive types, but a lot of them tend to not paint their models unless they're trying to win an award. They just want to they just have them on the field, they're put together and they're primed, and you can't tell what's what, and it doesn't look nice. I mean, this is a fun little game where you can paint up your own little men any way you want, put them on a field, and go, damn, that looks pretty. But a lot of people don't do it. And it's either because they don't know how to paint it correctly, it won't come out right, or they just don't care. So I kind of look at doing this as my way of kind of helping out people who want their army painted but don't necessarily either have the time or inclination, or if they just don't have the skill. And you could love the game and not have the skill. That's not a crime. Um, Now, as far as if you go with my little service here, and you do that by emailing my husband, Materim. But as far as my service goes, when you go with me, I give my best on, I give 100% on every model I do. I try not to half-ass anything. Like, even if it's just just an absolute mess of a horde of dudes, every one of them, I'm going to do my very best. I'm not going to just phone it in. When you go with me, you don't go necessarily with, the fastest painting service. I'm not the fastest painting service in the world. In fact, I do my best. I really do, because I can't paint all the time. In fact, there are some nights where I can't even get to painting because, well, I have a 4-month-old, and I'm still trying to train her to go to sleep at night. So some nights I'm up with her, and teething's is starting, so it might take me longer than I expect. But if I'm doing your stuff, I'm going to do your stuff. That's one of those work ethic things that my dad taught me. I'll get it done somehow. I mean, I feel awful right now, actually, but I'm probably going to stay up another 2, maybe 3 hours, and then get about 4 hours of sleep before I got to get up with the baby. But I have to get these guys done. I told the person I'm doing them for that I'd have them done, and unfortunately, I'm kind of behind right now, but I'm doing my best to kind of catch up. Um, Now, as far as pricing and stuff like that go, I mean, I don't have a set pricing guide like some of the bigger people do. Um, it's one of those things where I'm not entirely sure, but I'm getting a better judge the more of these I judge on how much I should be charging based on, how much the paint costs. Because I don't charge very much for my own personal skill. Just because I know there are people that are way better than I am. But I will do, like I said, my very best. I try. I really do. And that's more of a matter of pride for me than anything. I mean, I could be making 10 cents per model. Now, I'm not saying that I'm making 10 cents per model, but you get my understanding here. I would still, bring my A game, as it were. And I mean, just the sheer amount of models people have already ordered from me, I'm getting better. So not only all right, I don't even know where my thought was going at this point. But every model I do, just so you know, it's kind of a labor of love. And I know that sounds kind of really weird, but I've been drawing, painting, sculpting, whatever, ever since I could hold a pencil or piece of clay or whatever. And it's something I've always enjoyed doing. And I got the degree in art and then never did anything with it until after I had children and I couldn't afford a babysitter or anything like that, because then I'd be working full time. And I love this community so far. Everybody's been so nice and understanding about my time constraints. I really just can't thank them enough. Now, I said I'd talk about the Warhammer awards, the thing that Materum and Vince and I think Whoopi are doing. I think it's a kind of a neat idea that they're going to give out awards to everybody. And we've touched on the subject before about like the fact Josh told everybody that I don't vote for myself. I think that was a bad idea. They told everybody that I don't vote for myself, but because Reef fired a response back saying something about humble being. I don't know exactly what he said, so I'm not going to try and quote him. But that's just more of my own personal thing. I mean, I don't care if people vote for themselves. I'm not going to lie and say that it wouldn't be, super nice if people voted for me. But I also know, in my heart, that there are a couple of models that are like super super good out there that I don't know, other people might really deserve that golden bottle of liquid talent over me. But I'm not the one voting. It's hopefully people who are actually, no one's watching right now, so, and no one might not, so it's all right. But everybody should vote, because unlike with presidential elections, your vote actually matters in this. And if you like me and you wanna vote for me, I think that'd be really cool. I'm not gonna lie and say it wouldn't be super cool. Let's see. All right, let's pull up what I'm looking for here. Okay, here we go. So these are some of the models that I've got up on the sites right now. This was a suggestion from Vince that he thought was my best work with the mirror, and I really did work hard on this. So getting a vote, getting votes for this would make my day, and kind of make me feel good that people really enjoy how this model turned out. I loved doing the blood on the Medusa, and the white hair on, as my mom called them, the dirty hose, was really was really a multi-step process with blue ink and white primer and white overlay. The one thing that I'm really particularly proud of, besides the mirror, is actually the Medusa's face. It's a little difficult to see because it kind of gets a little grainy going closer, but I actually managed to get some like lipstick right there under the teeth. And that just kind of made me happy. So that was the suggestion from Vince about which one of my models was like the best. I wouldn't be surprised if people really like these guys either. I've gotten a bunch of comments as far as, where'd it go? Okay, there he is. As far as the scales, and people just like blue dinosaurs, I suppose. It's a lot better than purple dinosaurs, I suppose. I guess. I was actually surprised at how many comments I got about the blue scales. Especially since it wasn't even my painting idea. I was actually only copying images that Nicholas Blurt had sent me. And he's super happy with them. I'm super happy with them, and everybody else who's seen him apparently is really happy with them too. So I mean, that's another thing of mine that you can vote for. It, like I said, if you want to vote for me, not going to twist anybody's arm. There was one other thing that people really liked, and I'm trying to look for it now. Let me go to December 6th and see if it's up here. No, that's not it. A lot of people may not know this, but I'm actually a moderator on the PMP site, but I don't do a whole lot. I probably should, but all I do is comment on people's stuff, and I haven't been doing a whole lot of that either. At least not lately. My last comment, I think people didn't find it as amusing as I did, saying that the bloodthirst. Yes, I believe he's using it as a bloodthirster. Vince's bloodthirster looked had a butter face. See, I said that to be funny, but like I said, I don't know that anybody else found it funny. Oh, I know how to find this. What I'm looking for. My own profile. Let me go back to my own profile. I know this is a little. Bear with me. I've never done this before, and the one model I'm thinking of has disappeared off the planet. There it is. All right. This is my Wood Elf Lord here with all my very pretty greens in it. With this one, I was really going for a spring theme because I'm painting an entire Wood Elf army in the spring theme. So I've changed a couple of colors to make the greens a little lighter and all the leafy bits, bright and vibrant, as opposed to the standard GW scale. This is one of the older metal models, so it's kind of difficult to really see all the details on the back. I had a hard time picking them all out myself. But I really particularly liked how they had a rose growing out of like the skull. This is actually the fletching on the arrows. I made sure that all the wood elves had the same fletching, and I wanted to kind of stand out instead of having it all green, 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 and more green, because I did that on the clothes and the metal bits. So again, this is another option if you wanted to vote for me. I don't know I've been told that the race is really close. And even though I'm fairly certain that only one person at this point is watching me, and I know exactly who that person is, he's upstairs. I don't know why this thing is not letting me zoom in like it should. I'm hoping that somebody will watch it later after I've gone to bed. But that's just not a solid base green mask. That's actually metallic with green washes on it. So in real life, it has a nice sheen. But anyway, that's enough screen cap, I think, for right now. All right. Oh, it does say I have a viewer. If anybody wanted to actually join me in this, people are welcome. But like I said, I don't know that anybody I know is actually seeing it or available. The one person watching it is in bed right now, and he doesn't want to get out, which is fine. I understand. He's had a hard day at work. So, getting back to what I was talking about earlier with the paint service, um, if anybody actually cares, if anybody else wants to get on the ground floor of getting me to paint their models before I figure out exactly how much I should charge, because I'm fairly certain I've been undercharging, all you need to do is email Materum at joshlmerritt@gmail, and we'll work it out. I have people contact him because it's easier for me. Because like I said, he's kind of become my business manager. I'm just the talent. Because one of us needs to have some. Yes, I'm going to be snarky. Because it's late and I get to be snarky. So, as for what I'm painting right now, I'm painting some Sisters of the Thorn. And for these, I've actually utilized the book that I bought, the How to Paint Wood Elves book that GW put out, with a few slight modifications because they need to match the rest of the Wood Elf army that I'm painting. So it's GW paint scale with a spring twist. It's right now I'm doing their little horns on the. Here, let me see if I can get a better shot of this. Nope, no looking there. Alright, let's see. Okay. As you can see, I'm trying to get the horns done, but it's kind of dark in here, so you can't see a whole lot. But I'll be posting pictures up on the PNP later, once I get them all finished. Doing it the GW way is actually a lot more work, actually, believe it or not. I figured, they'd be utilizing a lot more washes than they actually do with it. But all of their shading and detail work is actually brushwork, which surprised me. And it's actually taking me a lot longer to do. So I really hope, well, I know that he's going to appreciate all the effort I'm putting into it. But like I said, I've fallen a little behind, and I need to get. I'm working on 2 right this second, and I'm hoping to get these done tonight, and then do another 2 tomorrow, so then I'll be done with them. I don't have to touch Wood Elf for a few months. Well, actually, I probably need to touch more Wood Elves before a few months. It just all depends on how much work I can get done. But I foresee teething in my future, so we'll see. I recently went to go visit my parents. Took the kids with me, all that good stuff. My hometown actually got a game store, which is hilarious because I'm not there anymore. But it's a really good game store. I couldn't believe it when I walked in there and was because I needed to get some more paint. They were selling all 3 End Times books. All 3 of them were on the shelf. Yes, I know. Impossible, right? Because no one on the internet can find them. Guess what? I found all 3 of them, but I didn't buy them. I don't need to. Because Materim and the boys got on the ground floor on all 3 books. So they have one copy for the entire group of each of the books already. Which is fine by me because Materim doesn't need to be spending all that freaking money on those books. I still think that the Kane book, like the elves getting all together. Now, keep in mind that I have not actually read this book, so I'm just going to be talking right out the old. I still think the all the elves getting together is crap. I think the wood elves should just, kicked all them to the curb. Oh, I'm sorry, your home got destroyed? Oh, too bad. Get out of my forest. Especially the dark elves with them screwing with Bretonia. Since Bretonia is apparently worshipping a wood elf goddess. Yeah, totally would have been like, yeah, get the heck out of my forest. We split from you guys for a reason. But, that's just me and having not actually read the book. But this is the internet, and I feel completely confident about talking about things that I have absolutely no clue about. I have absolutely no idea when I started this, but I'm going to keep talking out of my butt. Right out the butt. All right. So now I got to do the little swirly pattern on the middle of the horn. And all that is one color of blue and white. Okay. Unfortunately, if you've actually seen the GW paint scale on the Sisters of the Thorn, you know that the little flame that they have in their hands is blue. Well, not on mine. I've actually been painting it with Warpstone green and Moot green and a little bit of white. So I guess technically, if you think about it, my Sisters of Thorn are throwing warp fire at people. Instead of, I was going for like the springy theme because I didn't want to have too much blue because that doesn't really go with the army. So instead of having a nice blue crystal in their staff, a nice blue flame in their hand, they got green. So all the Skaven players rejoice. These Sisters of the Thorn have warp fire. How crazy is that? I think that's pretty crazy myself. And I lost my one viewer. Probably went unconscious, which is probably a good thing, because he's the one getting up with 3-year-old tomorrow. Not me. I'm sleeping. Isn't that bad? I'm a mom and I've had to go completely nocturnal like I did in college just to get these things done. Alright, now that I got the blue on there, I gotta work in a little bit of scar white. Well, white scar. I want to know how they actually came up with the name White Scar. What scars do you know that are white? I mean, technically, I'm white. My scars ain't white. Normally they're like, kind of a pinky color until, they get a little older and then they kind of start matching the skin tone a little bit closer. But again, why would you... I'm just curious as to where GW comes up with their names sometimes. Like, I realize that some of these things, like, are actually, like, in the books, and, like, Scarsnip Green. I know exactly where that comes from. Or Dryad Bark. Those poor, poor Dryads. Always being skinned for their bark. By everyone and everything, it seems like. Interesting fact, though. The other, last Christmas, my mother-in-law decided to give me the full range of GW Goblin paints. Interesting fact. Squig Orange is not in that pack. You don't use Squig Orange on Squig? Seriously? You don't use it on Squig? Why call it Squig Orange if you don't use it on Squig? Use Scarsnip Green on Goblins. And Wog Flesh. And Warboss Green. You use them all on Goblins. But apparently Squig Orange, you don't use it on Squig. How does that work? Go figure, GW. Hello? What's next? You're not going to use Doombull Brown on Doombulls? Or, I know. Mornfang Brown. No, they should be gray. Yeah, I'm just going to be silly right now. Hey, I got another viewer. Hi, other viewer, if you're not Josh. Yeah. Alright, now that I got the white on there, now comes the arduous task of trying to fill in where I overfilled the paint. Because the little swirly pattern in the horns is just a tiny, tiny indent. Oh. Let's see. I believe it's Kai Baker who's watching me. Hello, Kai. Thanks for your well wishes. I appreciate it. He's on his way to work. Okay. I can respect that. I'm working now, too. The only trick is with my work is if a baby cries, I gotta drop everything I'm doing and go see the baby. Which is fine. It's a lot better than my other third shift job that I used to have. Fresh out of college with a studio arts degree. I got a job with a nursing home. Which, I like the people. I mean, it was a third shift job, so, most of the residents were asleep, or at least they should have been asleep the whole time. Poor things. It was mostly a janitorial position, so I had to clean a lot of toilets. Which, once the mopping and the sweeping and everything was done, basically had nothing to do. But also had to check on patients, help them go to the bathroom, that kind of thing. Which, they need help, and, giving those people a little bit of dignity it was nice, but I have the. I couldn't keep it up. I carried a lot, and I I don't handle death very well. That, and it was a minimum wage job, which, I mean, I don't mind minimum wage jobs. I was fresh out of college. I was like, any job will do. I will do anything because I need to have something on my resume. I need to have some kind of work. Would I work there again? Probably. I mean, well, I wouldn't undo what if I could go back and not take the job. I wouldn't. I'd take the job again, just because. I mean, at least for the short time I was there, I I felt like I actually that the people actually liked me, and they needed somebody. I mean, some of them they couldn't move real good, and I think they really liked having somebody that talked to them like they were there. Because unfortunately, some of the people I worked with weren't would just go in there, do their thing, and not say word one to the poor people. All right, I'm getting bogged down in issues that I shouldn't be getting bogged down with. Um, so I finished getting the brown on the horns, and I threw some moot green on the little viney bits at the bottom. Uh, Allergies. How can you have allergies when it's cold as crap outside? But apparently you can. Anyway. And I just threw the moot green on the vines. It's not a base color, so I'm going to have to do it again just to get a nice coverage on it. I apologize for not having the Q&A up because I have absolutely no idea how to actually do it. But then again, like I said, I have like one viewer, which is fine. I have no followers on YouTube. If I actually get followers, it'll be a miracle. Josh is the one with all the followers, which I'm still kind of impressed with, that people want to listen to him. There are some days where I'm like, are you still talking? Why are you still talking? No, that's not fair. I did marry him for a reason. Unfortunately, I also I also have to deal with the fact that he doesn't shut up very much. When we first moved in together, we actually moved in with a friend of his, and they had been friends in high school. And they had developed this thing where when one was talking, the other one was breathing. And the minute the one that was talking took a breath, the other one would jump in. So getting a word in edgewise between two of them, almost impossible. All right. So on the plus side, it's pretty much prepared me for any kind of YouTube chats that I have. Because a lot of times I either get talked over, or And I mean, that's nobody's fault. I mean, it happens. You don't. It's hard to get in a rhythm with people that you don't do it with all the time. Hell, it's hard for me to get into a rhythm with the people that I see a lot more here. Like getting a rhythm with the boys is kind of, it's kind of the same. Um, okay, it's 1:28. When did I start doing this thing? Okay, I've at least been doing this for 20 minutes, which is amazing. I didn't think I could actually keep talking for that long. Oh, yeah. Materim actually had me do some do do the prize support for a banner contest he was doing. I've almost got it completed. The person that won uh, decided to do a banner for the Goblin Doom Diver, which I love my Goblin Doom Diver. It is, I think, the best weapon the Goblins got. But a Goblin Doom Diver doesn't have a standard bearer. So I decided to be nice and kind of make a little standee for the banner. I took some Savage Orc bits that I had left over to make the little stand part. Basically, I just took one of the two-handed weapons that they've got. Because, I mean, seriously, if you have Savage Orcs, why would you ever equip them with two-handed weapons when you can equip them with dual-hand weapons? I mean, seriously. Come on, people. And I cut the handle off another one to and kind of sharpen the two ends and tied it together with a little bit of thread to hold the standard. And it looks pretty good. I'm actually a lot more proud of it than I thought I would be. And then I went that extra mile and took some rocks and some extra skulls to make a little mound. Gonna put a little bit of grass on there. And I've got the little banner pretty much done. I just need to take some glue or whatever and kind of laminate it a little bit to make sure that it'll be okay. And then get it on in the mail for them. Unfortunately, because I'm kind of behind in my own painting, these guys, I haven't had the chance to get to it. And I do apologize, but you know, you get it for free, so a little extra time is not going to kill you. All right. So the thing with the Sisters of the Thorn is they actually have you wash, which is one of the few washes you get to do with this. They have you wash the metal bits with green. They want you to do the camo green shade, but I don't have the camo green shade, or at least I didn't when I started them. And two, I didn't use camo green shade on the rest of the army, so I'm using Beltane. And once you wash the metal bits, you kind of go back over it with the Iron Breaker again to kind of take most of the green out. So it's just a little green in between the scales on the hip armor and on like the shin plates and all that good stuff. So it kind of ends up being a little hint of green. It's not as much green on the metal as, say, the Wild Riders I did. getting a little better at the banners, like trying to copy banners. As that was free-handed from what they've got in the book. Luckily, I've got the Wood Elf book, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. And I think that came out really nice. I'm kind of proud of that one. Way to go, buddy, whoever you are, for hanging in with my rantiness. Of course, you know, no one can hold a candle to Mr. Reef and his ability to rant. Though, I think if you secretly record me playing Legend of Zelda, any Legend of Zelda, or any fighting game really, I think I could give Reef a run for his money. As I can actually, at certain points, I start inventing curse words. When I was in college, my friends and Materim used to joke that I was the most creative. I had. All right. Okay, it's 1:34, so my ability to be eloquent has gone. So bear with me. That I came up with the most creative sounding curses ever. Like I would string together curse words in ways that they would stop and they would just watch me play games. Not to see what was going on in the game, but just to see my reaction to what was going on in the game. Unfortunately, you know, since life has gotten in the way, I haven't gotten to play any video games. I was actually pining for one the other day. But unfortunately, you know, you get older, you can't sit for hours on end like you used to. And you don't have good chairs near the TV like you should. Kind of takes away your ability to play those things. You know what I miss? I miss side scrollers. I used to play Sonic. Like I didn't have Super Nintendo. Like I started out with a Nintendo. Don't get me wrong, I love Nintendo. All about some Nintendo. But instead of getting me the Super Nintendo, my parents got me a Sega Genesis. Booyah. And Sonic the Hedgehog. Man, I could just stand there for hours and play that game. Because, of course, you had to because you couldn't save on it. So you got really good at the first few levels, and then you got to the point where you couldn't do it anymore, and you had to stop. It got kind of repetitive. I also got pretty good at I got a Mortal Kombat. And I was actually pretty good at it. Except, you know, like with any fighting game, if you're fighting a friend, and they find that one like leg sweep kick that just knocks your character on their butt, and they just spam that over and over again, it gets real old real fast. But then again, it's not so much fun for the person who's getting their butt kicked so much. So I can kind of understand why my friend did the legs. I can understand it now. Back then, me and her did a marathon session of Mortal Kombat. I would beat her like, I'm gonna come up with a random number here, 30 something times in a row, or however many times it took to, because in the old Mortal Kombat game on Sega, if you beat somebody, it could even be the computer, if you beat them enough times in a row, you summon forth this ridiculous boss who comes out and just would whip my butt. So it became a challenge to see how many times I could beat her in a row to get that guy to come forth to try and beat him. And I'd get one defeat away, and she'd pull out that leg sweep kick thing. And oh my god, I would curse so hard at her. But then again, we were like middle school, high school at this point. I'm gonna go with middle school. So it was hilarious, cursing at her so hard, but then again, trying not to curse hard enough to where my mom would hear me. Because if my mom heard me, then that was it. Because, I grew up in the age where you weren't allowed to curse, and you didn't have cell phones, or much of the internet. Like I still can't get, it still weirds me out that there are people who are alive that were not alive in the 80s. Like people that I hang out with or talk to on a regular basis that never lived through the 80s. That just blows my mind. Like how are you here? Like why aren't you in diapers? Kind of thinking. I probably just insulted a good number of people. I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm really not. I just the 80s were so awesome, and there are people. And I'm sure anybody watching who will watch this is like, well, you have children. Of course, there are people that weren't born in the 80s. Yes, I realize this. But at the same time, I've gone out of my way to procure a bunch of cartoons, and I still have my old game systems and whatnot, so that my child will understand these things that I reference, and will want to understand these things that I'm referencing, because they will become fond childhood memories. I'm hoping. Wow. And then there are people who are like, but if you don't let them watch what's on there now, they won't know what's popular, and they'll be behind the times and get made fun of when they get to actual school. Whatever. Or they'll be awesome. But no, I let her watch other stuff too. It's kind of funny. She's right now. One of them's hooked on my 3-year-old's hooked on Pokemon, which is great because I remember Pokemon from when I was little. Not quite as little as she is because it took a while to get to America, but still. And they've got the old original Pokemon up on Netflix. I think the only thing that concerns me about today is that kids don't have to wait for things. I used to have to wait for things, like, all the time. Like, I had to wait just Saturday to watch certain cartoons. I had to wait through commercials, like just cats of commercials, like mad commercials. Um, I had to wait to do certain things, and all that waiting, prepares you for life. But I'm gonna sound like I'm 60 now. But kids these days, they ain't gotta wait for jack. You got the TVs with the fast forward function on the commercials, and if you're not around to watch something, it's not too bad so sad anymore. It's, here, let me record it on my DVR. So I don't know how good a thing that really is, And I mean, I'm guilty of it too. So I mean, it's not like I'm not, like, like I take her to my mom's house, and they don't have Netflix or anything like that, and she's not used to it. So, like, when a commercial comes on, she'll fuss because she's like, I want this show back on. Put the show on. I'm like, you have to wait for the commercial. And it's just such a foreign concept to her. And of course, unfortunately, my mom's got DVR and all this other stuff, so some of it's a little lost on her, because at the same time, we don't want to hear her moan and whine and whatever. All right, so I got the dry brushing of the metallic iron breaker back on, so now it's not so green anymore. So next up is, let's do some gold. And majority of the gold on this is Gehenna, which I find amusing because I used to play White Wolf a little bit, not a LARPer. And one of my favorite White Wolf systems is Vampire. So Gehenna is kind of like their end times thing. I made a Warhammer reference. The White Wolf. Yeah, okay. Half of you won't get that, or probably more than half of whoever's watching, the one person that is watching. Okay. So the Sisters of the Thorn, not being vampires, will not appreciate the fact that there is red in this gold. I, however, do. I find it funny that it's a bloody gold. Vampire the Masquerade, it's a bloody gold, it's Gehenna. Okay, I'm just being a nerd right now. And the interesting part about this is the Gehenna gold goes on the saddle as the third color. It's not the base color, but Gehenna gold is actually the base color for the other gold on the body. Fancy that. What are you thinking, GW? Alright. Probably thinking that the saddle needs to look different from the rest of the gold on the body. I have no idea why. Because it makes it more interesting, Alicia. Okay, GW. just makes it confusing to me when I'm trying to do this, and I'm like, oh, I need to do the gold down. Crap, I have to switch golds. I can't do Balthazar for the base. Alright. Now, I've gotten some a little bit of guff from Materum for calling my my goblin Randy, but I think it's funny. He looks like a Randy, and at this point, when I named him Randy, I had a reference in mind, and now I can't for the life of me place the reference. But he still looks like a Randy, so I'm going with it. The other reason why I don't participate in the whole narrative battle report stuff is not only the fact that I don't name my goblins correctly, if you can't see that, air quotes right there, but if I'm of the opinion that if I'm gonna roleplay an entire army, I might want to do Birthright instead of Warhammer. I like D&D. I miss D&D. I wish we could play D&D. Hopefully we'll get to play D&D next week. That's one of those things that I absolutely I don't like about growing up. Is when you're a kid, like when you're in college, you can make the time and just game for hours, days. I want to game for an entire day. Like, we had a day off from school because of snow or something, and then we all got together and we played until 8 o'clock the next morning, and then me and my friend had to go. Interesting fact, I used to be a theater major. Then we had to go do a show that we were being tech hands for. I don't even remember what the show was, but the show actually ended up being canceled because of the snow. So we roll up in the theater and they're like, it's canceled, and I'm like, all right. And then we went back to our dorm and passed out. But as you get older, it's harder for people to get together and play. It becomes this huge ordeal just to be able to get a once a week game. And it's one of those things that kind of makes me sad. And I mean, I know most of the people who may or may not ever watch this are massive Warhammer peoples. But it's the same. It's basically the same thing. A game of Warhammer takes about as long as a session of role playing. And it's actually because of D&D that I am painting these little figures right here. Because Materum is a good GM, and when we started playing, when we started playing together, and then started dating, in D&D, you can actually use little figures that are the exact same scale. In fact, we bought the Warhammer goblins and the Warhammer zombies to use in our D&D game because they're the exact same. Everybody uses the same scale. Crap. I just touched the tail of this guy with my gold. Oh. If you're quick, you can wipe it off, but I'm not quick enough, so I'm going to have to go back over that and cover it up. But, and I'd never painted anything like this, so it was a lot of fun. By the end of, like, he painted 10 goblins, I painted 10 goblins. By the end of it, it was kind of funny. His looked all dark and evil, and mine looked all happy and, like, bright and shiny goblins. And you're maybe wondering, like, all right, how did you get dark and evil and bright and shiny out of the same box with the exact same paints? Well, I'll tell you. Because I was an idiot and spray painted those goblins that I painted white. I primered them white. I know, big mistake. You should always primer your goblins in black. Always, always, always. Well, you should prime everything in black, just because. I mean, yeah, there are some people that you can, some models that you can, quote unquote, do tricks with if you primer them in white and just dunk them in liquid talent. But you know, if you're taking the time to paint your own stuff, I mean, push yourself, try. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is it looks like crap. And I mean, if you don't think that you're that good anyway, who cares? Because if you keep trying, you'll only get better. I mean, I've never seen somebody try and try and try and get worse. And I mean, getting discouraged and everything, that can happen. But I mean, worst case scenario, you try your best instead of doing a shortcut trick. And you end up not liking it. You can always, if you didn't glop the paint on, if you put it on sparingly, or at least lightly enough, you can always reprimer it and do the dip. And I know Josh was recently talking about how I bust his balls all the time about painting and everything. I just do that to him because I married him. I can actually be very complimentary and encouraging when I want to be. But I married him, so I expect better. I expect things out of him. Not to say that I don't expect things out of people I give advice to. It's just I can be kinder to them because I'm not married to them. I can afford a little bit of kindness. And I guess part of that is because I get crap about my inability to spell and my words. I can speak, I can't spell. So when I write things down, half the time I have to dumb it down, or I can't spell the word I'm trying to use, which it ends up being spelled a different word. And I guess that could be a byproduct of the time we're living in. I mean, I don't think they're teaching kids how to spell anymore anyway. I know they're not teaching kids cursive anymore. which I find kind of funny. My grandmother was she was having to fill out a patient form, with all your pertinence on it and such. And on all those kind of forms, you got to print because half the time people can't read cursive for some reason. And I heard her say, I'm not going to print anymore. And I had to look up and say, no, Grandma, you have to print because they're not even teaching cursive in school anymore. The person reading your file probably couldn't read what you wrote, even though her cursive writing is impeccable, because she's from the generation where they actually stressed on penmanship. Like you can always tell, like when an older person writes something as opposed to a younger person. And I have that same issue too. Instead of writing in full on cursive, I have this kind of weird mesh between cursive and printing. Like if you asked me to write something entirely in cursive, I think I could do it, but it would take me time to remember all the letters go. And to me, that makes me kind of sad that no one's actually physically writing anymore. Because lettering can be very pretty. As my art side is going to come out, I actually took a typography class. Typography, the study of typing. No, typography. It's how I learned how to make my own fonts and lettering and stuff like that. So on my computer, I have a bunch of original fonts that nobody else has unless they did what I did and ripped them off from the school server before you graduated. Um, it's actually a lot of fun. I kind of wish I had the program still. I kind of wish I had the program that we used, because I would totally be making some elf font or uh, goblin font, Legend of Zelda font. Though I'm fairly certain all that stuff's out. I'm certain somebody's made it. You know what I could really go for right now? Some sushi. Isn't that weird? How, like, it didn't used to be a thing over here, but now it's like this big thing. Like everybody, I guess it's like the Japanesing, or okay, that's probably a really racist comment. I'm really sorry to anybody who ever watches this ever. Okay. How about Asiafication? There you go, Asianification. um, of the United States. I mean, I've been watching an incredible amount of anime, though I haven't watched any in a week and a half probably, because I don't get time to watch anything while I'm at my mom's house. Because I end up helping her out and catching up on as much sleep as I possibly can. Then she has a TV, and for better or for worse, I actually really, really like Adventure Time. And I'm trying to figure out if I put the Gehenna Gold on this second one or not. you ever done that? Get distracted, and when you're batch painting something and you're not sure if you actually batch painted a section of it or not, especially on a secondary color. Looks like I did on most of it. I'm gonna go over it just in case. Going over it does not hurt it. Just in case. There we go. That looks nice. Oh wow, it's 2:03, and I'm still going, and I still apparently have a viewer who's still watching me at 2 in the morning. All right. Oh, I saw this really funny movie on Netflix, The Knights of Badassdom. It's about people who are LARPing, and it's got Summer Glee? River. It's got River in it, which just makes it awesome, in my opinion, just without a doubt. And it also has that one guy from Game of Thrones, the Playboy. I don't watch Game of Thrones, so I really couldn't tell you who his character is or whatever. I lost my one viewer. No. Whatever. But it's about these guys LARPing in the woods, like D&D LARPing, not vampire LARPing, as that would just get weird. And they end up waking something up, like a succubus, because the guy playing the wizard decided to get his spell book off of eBay, and it turned out to be an actual demon summoning book. So, as you can well imagine, hilarity ensues and a lot of death. I thought it was cute. It had some moments that could be taken as insulting, but I figured as much. But honestly, I don't fall into the category with the LARPers a lot of the time, so it wasn't particularly insulting to me. Because I can really kind of attest to, walking into a con and having guys start falling over you. It happens. It does. I have a friend who who got stuff just because she was a girl at a con. And of course, I hung out around her to kind of help keep some of the more crazies off. But I ended up getting, I would say cast-offs as far as like freebie stuff. But all right, trying to get this gold on the staff. It's kind of weird. Like the staff's got, hey, my one viewer's back. I don't know if it's the same viewer or a different guy, but whatever. Hey, a viewer's a viewer. It's primarily gold at the end with like a silver mounting plate on either side. So trying to get the gold around it so as not to bleed into the silver mounting plate is kind of difficult because you want it to get it close enough to the edge to get it so it looks like it's sitting in the gold area without making it look like it's just kind of silver plated there. You want to try for the whole it's two separate entities kind of thing. But the wash will help with that. That sounded weird. Eric. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be up on this. I'm kind of running out of things to say. Oh, brushes. What I do to try and keep my brushes from falling completely apart on me so quick is every time I clean them after using different paints, as I'm wiping the water off, I kind of twist them on the towel just like a little bit, just kind of spin it to kind of keep the tip, to kind of tip it back. Now I think it actually does a little bit of harm to the brush because, you know, I kind of look at it and I kind of see that it's starting to go a little, getting that hook on it. But I picked up some brush shaper, but I think that stuff ends up being too little too late a lot of times, especially if you don't use it all the time. Because I tried using it on a brush that was starting to kind of do that kind of fraidy thing, and didn't really work too good. So I don't know if you should put much stock into brush shaper or not. Okay. So, do I want to do the pants before I do the leather or not? Oh, ow. Ah. Ah. Bad cord. Get out from underneath my foot. Ow. Oh my god. I'm just gonna take a stretch break for a minute. Stretch. Somebody's moving upstairs. Alright. Getting caught in my cable here. Alright. So, yeah, let's do the pants first. So for the pants, all I do is I'm going to use a little bit of Cabalite. That's my inability to read again. I say Cabalite. But it's Cabalite. Whatever. It's a green color. It's a slightly darker green color. This is a layer, not a base coat, so it doesn't go on as well, but that's alright. Basically, the difference between the layers in GW's paint and a base coat is not a whole lot, except that the layer, when you're putting it directly onto the primer, doesn't want to cover as much because it's a little thinner. But you can still use a layer as a base coat. You just have to go over it a second time after it dries. Because actually the base coat for the deers is also a layer color. So what I end up doing is I put it on very lightly when I do it, and I just kind of brush and brush and brush, and I just do a quick light coat over it first, and then I go back and just build on it to get a nice smooth kind of coat, so there's like not the primer's not peeking through anymore. A lot of other people like using, cheaper paints. And, I've got no problem with other people using like cheaper paints and stuff like that. And who knows, they might end up being, slightly better. But as far as I go, I use GW paints mainly because GW is putting the paints out. They're also the ones making the models. So they know for a fact that the paint is going to work and is going to look good on the model. So just gonna kind of go in with that. And a little thing to think about is a lot of times in the art world, the more expensive an art product is, it is directly linked to how good it is a lot of the time. I'm not saying all the time. Some of the artists on the PMP site might disagree with me saying that, but that is what I've found, at least. That the more I pay for something, the better I'm getting. Not only that, but if you're using the GW paints, it's and you like the paint, how the models are presented in the books, it's easier to match them. Just because to get the correct shades and tints of certain colors, you need to have the exact paints a lot of time. Otherwise, you're just mixing and hoping. Alright. Now, the weird thing is these Sisters of the Thorn, they have a shirt on. It's hard to see. Like, it's right between the vest and the belt. And normally I wouldn't be painting these with the figure on there, and I certainly wouldn't be painting them with the javelins attached to the back. But this is how I receive them, so this is how I'm having to deal with them. And my glasses are completely crooked. So, I mean, if you're watching this later and you're trying to get something painted, Do yourself a favor. Don't attach javelins. It's just easier to get to everything. I mean, I know a lot of people, they don't care. Like, oh, I don't need to paint every little bit. I can just put it all together, just slop paint on it, and it's good. But this is one of the ways that you can get better at your craft, is if you go to the trouble of trying to paint even the things that people aren't going to see. Because you know it's painted. Somebody picking it up might not necessarily know. But that's actually one of the things that I look for. When I look at a model that somebody's painted, like immediately I'll pick it up. And I won't look at it like this. I'll do this and see if they painted the underside, or like if there's paint missing anywhere first. And then I'll look at the rest of it. It's actually one of the things that drives me nuts about Materum is on a lot of models, he puts them together completely first and then he paints them. Like he did that with like the dwarf gyrocopter a couple of times, and I'm like, why? Why would you do that? Why would you attach the bonds before you painted it? What are you thinking? He's like, you're not going to see it anyway. I'm like, yes, you can. If you look. That's just me being tough on him. It's tough love. My viewer's gone. Oh, he's back. So either somebody's got a weird connection, or I'm having a lot of multiple single viewers. But again, I don't expect to get any more viewers because, I mean, I advertise it on the PMP site and I advertise it on the YouTuber site. But to be completely honest, I don't expect anybody to actually watch this thing because I don't have any followers of my own. A lot of people don't even know who the hell I am. I suppose if I had said Materium's Weiss first, Paintisode, I'd probably get a lot more viewers. But people on the people on the YouTube site would probably be like, okay, somebody's doing a Paintisode, why the hell should I care? That's okay. You gotta actually post stuff to get viewers, and I pretty much lurk on Whoopi's site, and I've done 1 or 2 things with Materium on his site, so people know me from that. And people are like, if I want to look at her, I'll go to the... That was the most embarrassing thing, honestly. The after hours PMP thing on Whoopi's page, it got stuck on me, and I had no idea it was stuck on me. So I was making all these weird faces because I like to make weird faces because I know the camera's not on me. And of course, I'm making weird faces now, so it doesn't really matter. But at least I know that the camera's on me and not on somebody else. That's the weird thing, is I don't know if Google Plus likes having the camera stick on one person, but I've noticed that happening a lot more in a lot of these reports, and it makes me wonder if the person running them is doing it on purpose or if it's just getting stuck, period. Because it got stuck on Josh and a couple of his Materium on a couple of his things, and it doesn't, like, it got stuck during the award show. It got stuck on him, and I'm not sure why it got stuck on him. All right. Now I got the base colors on the shirt and the pants. Now it's time for the highlight. Woo! Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. Woo! All right. Cyberite. It's like saber. Seabarite. I'm sure that's a name of something. I would like to go to a Seabarite. Oh well. Now I gotta figure out which one of these has been drawing the longest. Because when you put on a highlight onto something, it helps if your base is dry. Because otherwise you just end up mixing it, and it doesn't look good. And my brush is wet, so it's not doing right. A lot of people like a wet palette. I don't use a wet palette. But you're an artist. Why aren't you using wet palette? I didn't go to school for painting. This is what I use. I use a paper towel. I just kind of rub it on. Like, honestly, like I could unfold these paper towels and probably frame them and sell them to a modern art museum. They look like a Pollock threw up. And I lost my viewer again. Maybe he was a Pollock fan. But you know, I don't mind Pollock. It's not his fault that that was accepted as art. You want to know whose fault it was? It was Whistler. I know. Weird fact, right? The guy that can actually paint is responsible for the modern art movement. Because he won a court case way back when about how artist, if I'm an artist and I do something, it's art. It doesn't matter what it is. If I take just a little paint on my finger, smear it on something, it's art. Because I'm an artist. Thank you, Whistler, for opening that door that could never be closed. Now, admittedly, I'm not the. Admittedly, I can't do the classically trained stuff. I'm more of a cartoonist. But I really appreciate the masters a lot more than I. Like, the only guy that I like is Warhol, just a little bit. Like a lot of the guys that I was forced to learn about in school from about the 1920s to the 70s, I could care less about. There are some people that there's some artists that are good, but most of them are before 1920. But there are a couple of modern ones now that aren't bad. And I'm not going to go running through that because, again, anybody who actually watches this probably isn't watching it to hear me rant on fine art stuff. So I was totally surprised when Josh announced that he was going to Brawlers. Now, when I say I was surprised not because he said he was going to Brawlers, but because he had told me a while back that he decided that he wasn't going to go. Because I'd given him permission to go. And yes, I gave him permission. Like way back when he first started his YouTubing thing, he wanted to go and meet all the other YouTubers, which I was like, okay, fine, you can go. And then a few months ago or something like that, I could have swore he told me that he decided that he didn't want to go because there wasn't going to be anybody that he wanted to play with and blah 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 blah. And now he's changed his mind, which is fine. He's allowed to do that, I suppose. But okay. Alright, so I got the pants and I got the shirt done. Shirt tail. Okay. Let's do leather. It's all about it's no. I'm just gonna. I got random stuff going through my head. Alright. So for the leather, I gotta skin some dryads. And my viewer's back. Woo! My viewer's back. With the amount of noise coming from upstairs, my viewer should probably be asleep. I don't know for sure, but yeah. Yeah, so I gotta skin dryads to make all the leather for these Sisters of the Thorn, which I find amusing. Speaking of dryads, a lot of people don't know this because I don't imagine a lot of people go to my Google Plus page and just kind of thumb through my pictures. But on my own personal army of Wood Elves that I have not played in quite some time, this was back when dryads weren't so bad, so terrible, that I got these things. I got a battalion box, and it had dryads in it. And so I painted up all my dryads. I painted them up. A lot of people would have painted them, like batch painted them, get them all looking the same woody color, they all being from the same kind of tree. Not me. I painted one that looks like a cherry blossom tree. It's got nice, pretty pink leaves. I painted like some springy looking things, and some different wood looking colors. And I hung all kinds of random mess in their branches because I thought it would look nice. Unfortunately, now they don't skirmish, so I can't fit them together. I can't rank them. It's impossible to rank them. You have, when you build a model and you put it on the base, you really have to pay attention to whether it will rank with the rest of the models or not. I know I had to pay particular attention to that fact when I was putting together my Savage Orcs. Savage Orcs. Because those bastards... because those guys... don't like each other. They got arms going all over the place. So what did I end up doing? I ended up numbering the bottom of my figures. So that way, I know how they were ranked up to begin with. So I don't have to go through the pain and the suffering trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to make these guys fit on their base? How am I going to make these guys rank up? But unfortunately, my dryads being the part of the first army I ever painted, and the fact that they were skirmishers, I didn't bother to rank them up as I was building them. It wasn't an issue because they were skirmishers. I don't have to rank them up. But now that they're taking away the skirmish ability from them, I don't know what the heck I'm going to do with them. Suppose I could rip their arms off or something like that, or that, but they'd be like, we're trees, we don't care. But I don't want to do that because I like them. I don't want to get in the box of them to fill it out to make them all rank up properly, because you can always do that. Just buy another box and build them so that they all rank together. But the dryads aren't very good anymore. Well, they weren't very good to begin with, but they were cheap. They weren't that cheap, but that's all I had. I'm just gonna clean my brush because sometimes, like, even when you're painting like all of the same color, your brush can get a little gunky. So it's good to kind of wash it off every once in a while, just so all that paint doesn't build up at the end that you're not using. Where was it going with my dryad thought? Oh, I even in the dryad kit, there's a little owl figure that you can put on their branches. It's a cute little owl. But so I put one owl up in one of the tree's branches. Like, okay, I've done that. What can I do? What else can I do with this? So I shaved its ears off because for some reason owls have those points. And so I shaved those off. I took some green stuff and I made the beak real big. Then I painted it blue. That's right. I made the dead parrot from Monty Python. Because it was funny to me at the time. And it's kind of just hanging there, so it's not even hanging in a position to make it look like it might be alive. In hindsight, I might want to go back with some green stuff and kind of make some ropes so it's tied into the tree, but I haven't done that yet. But it's on my Google Plus page. I even did a little close-up of just the parrot because it's so tiny, it's hard to tell what the heck it is, especially if you're just focusing in on how good the bark looks on the dryad. It's weird. It's one of one of my few like little joys in life, and this is gonna sound terrible, is when Materim and the boys look at something that I've painted or something that I've done like this and then proceed to tell me how much they hate me. I know that's weird, isn't it? That I thrive on hate. I don't know, it kind of just makes me feel good. Maybe it's just because I'm an adversarial personality. Like, I don't even mean to be sometimes. But then again, that's kind of, I'm actually the least adversarial of my family, which is kind of weird. Like this time I was home yesterday, like my mom had, we did our Christmas with the kids because I'm not gonna be able to go home for Christmas because it's a combination of Josh having to probably work the next day and it being too long of a drive just to go down for one day and then come back the same day. But I'm the oldest, and our middle sister super loves deviled eggs. And because we did our Christmas, my mom made this big Christmas dinner kind of thing, ham and rice and gravy and deviled eggs. All right. So, I mean, we've been eating on the leftovers for a good bit. And yesterday, there was 2 deviled eggs left in the fridge. And my sister comes over, and she's apparently starving to death. Which is funny to me because she's a vegetarian. And for some reason, I just don't imagine those people as being hungry. Because, how hungry can you be to go, oh my god, I really want some vegetables right now? And again, that might be kind of insulting to some people, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm insulting you, but I'm a carnivore. I like meat. The phrase, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse, doesn't really work for vegetarians now, does it? I'm so hungry I could eat a whole salad bar. How about that? Nah, that doesn't have the same connotation now, does it? No. But anyway, so there's 2 deviled eggs left. She's not a vegan, so this is why this works. There are 2 deviled eggs left in the fridge, and my sister literally can eat an entire, like, just tray full of deviled eggs. And I'm like, I want one too. I mean, I want, because mom's deviled eggs. Come on, it's mom's. Mom's cooking. Everybody loves their mom's cooking. If you don't love your mom's cooking, I feel sorry for you. I do, because I mean, there's nothing in this world like mom's cooking. Um, so, and I'm holding the baby. The baby, which she fights with my other sister over holding. And what does the do? She grabs the container of deviled eggs, and even though I'm like, hey, I want to get one too, she runs to the corner of the kitchen with the tray. Of course, I'm going after her because I want one. And she freaking checks me, grabs both eggs and licks them. Come on, you can't even share. Seriously? But I don't exactly do the adult thing myself. I tell on her. I tell my mom. I'm like, Mom, there was 2, and she didn't share. And because my mom loves me, she she made another container of deviled eggs. And of course, they're done by the time my sister's already gone. And because I'm spiteful, I take a picture of them and I text it to her. And I text her a picture of me eating one too. Said, haha, these are my eggs. And because she gets all presumptuous, she's like, oh, that's fine. I'll just eat the rest of them tomorrow. I took the tray because my mom's got multiple fridges, like one outside for beer and wine and what have you. I take the egg tray outside and I hide it under a whole bunch of beer in it. And I tell my mom to tell her that I ate them all. I know the ruse won't work long because my sisters for some reason cannot do without alcohol for 5 minutes. They're not alcoholics, they just drink a lot. But that's just me being spiteful. I mean, come on, how hard is it to share with a sister that you don't see all the time? Come on. All right. So I've skinned my dryads and dressed my sisters of thorn with their flesh. It's just a very dark brown. So I'm gonna let that dryad bark dry. Ha 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 ha. Dryad dry. Okay. And I'm gonna take out some liquid talent. Wait, no, not liquid talent. I can't do aggro sorcery. It doesn't do. For some reason, I want you to wash the gold in Reikland Flesh Shade. I'm just like, is the gold alive? Should I be worried about that? That the gold's living? Does it have blood vessels? I don't know. It's just already brown, I know. Alright, so I gotta wash all the gold with this Reikland Fresh Shade now. Just makes it a little deeper, a little less shiny, which is fine. Because apparently I gotta go over it with another gold later. I don't think I'm very entertaining. Because I keep losing viewers. That's alright. So I picked up some Gale Force 9 flock for my next project. Because my next project is all about that base. Not only do I have to match the figure painting, I gotta match the base. And I don't do bases. I haven't done a whole lot of bases, but I've looked at the flock on this, and it doesn't look too difficult. So I'm giving it a shot. I bought the flock and everything, and I'm feeling pretty confident about it. That's one of those things that I need improvement on, because my goblin bases, they're pretty. Let me go with the word sucky. Because they're not, they're not super pretty. They're not by any means, Vince's or Victor's ridiculous lava bases. Can you tell I'm jealous through the sound of my voice? Saying inflections. You can't. I totally am. Totally jealous of those bases. Probably. Like. Kind of jealous to the point where. Yeah. If I was left alone, those bases, I would totally steal them. I'd pick them up and run off with them. When I think about it. In fact, this is coming here at some point. Might have to knock him in the head that has bases. I would knock him in the head. Oh wow, it's getting almost 3. Alright, I think I'm gonna finish putting the Reichland flush shade on here, and we're gonna call it a night, I think. The baby is probably gonna wake up a lot sooner than I'm wanting her to. Because that's how babies work. Then I got a doctor's appointment tomorrow with her. That's always so much fun. Alright. Well, to my one viewer who is left, thank you for watching. I hope other people watch it too. In summation, vote for me because apparently I kind of do want that gold bottle of liquid talent because I'm kind of running low on my normal bottle of liquid talent. Good night. Hang on.